Shares in Saudi Arabia's state-run oil company have officially begun trading on Riyadh Stock Exchange, opening 10% higher than the initial public offering. Saudi Aramco made history a week ago with the largest ever IPO, raising $25.6 billion for less than 2% of the company. This valued Aramco at $1.7 trillion, making it the most valuable listed company in the world. The IPO fell short of the $2 trillion valuation the kingdom had wanted, though officials hope it will hit that mark on the first day of trading. Let's speak to Vandana Hari about this. She's the founder and CEO of Vanda Insights. That's a company providing global oil markets analysis. She's live from Singapore. Thank you so much for being with us on Al Jazeera. A very good start for Aramco. Who's manipulating the markets to get the stock price up to $2 trillion?
Well, to some extent, the IPO from the start, the process was very carefully stage managed. The expectations had been whittled down quite a bit from compared with the initial aspirations to list 5% of the company with a total valuation of $2 trillion, which would have netted the kingdom about $100 billion. The IPO, the scaled-down IPO has brought in just about $26 billion. It was expected to be listed simultaneously on prominent international exchanges as well as the domestic exchange. It has been listed only on the domestic exchange and bought only by the Saudis with a little bit of contribution from the UAE and Kuwait. So it is a success, a limited success, as you were just mentioning in your introduction. How to get the valuation up from the 1.7 trillion, which was achieved in the IPO, to the 2 trillion. And I suppose to a larger extent, how does Saudi Arabia now make up for the $75 billion that it probably expected to get, but didn't? I think those are going to be the big questions going forward.
So should international investors still be concerned then about getting into the stock and the Saudi market?
The international investors will be watching this very closely. Again, it's the world's most profitable company, the biggest crude exporter. It has its IPO, its debut has made a new record, bigger than Alibaba, which held the previous record. So on a lot of metrics, it is a company that will be very closely watched by the international investors, probably more out of a fear of missing out on something that might be good. But by and large, so far, the international investors' interest has been very tepid, to say the least. That was one of the reasons. Even in the final days, Saudi Arabia cancelled the international roadshows that were planned for US and Europe and Asia. So, but will they keep an eye? They will probably. But the valuation that has been achieved with this very limited offering in the domestic market is probably not a valuation that the international investors will go by. They have their own estimates, which until now have been pretty much lower than where the valuation is suggested as of today.
So will the Saudis, in your view, achieve their goal of diversifying their economy with the proceeds from this IPO?
So, as I mentioned, the proceeds have been much smaller than they might have expected. We just had the Saudi budget announced earlier this week, and clearly they're looking at a bigger budget deficit. They're looking at much lesser oil revenues. Already, oil revenues in 2019 came in nearly 10% below what they had budgeted. So all of those are going to be major concerns. They will need to be looking for more money. Will it help in the diversification efforts? Yes, probably, but not as much as it would have, let's say, had they managed to raise $100 billion instead of $26 billion.
Thank you so much for your insights, Vandana Hari, who's a global oil market analyst, joining us there from Singapore. Thank you for your time.